Ribeye is overrated. There, I said it. And by the end of this video, you're going to have 3 cuts on your radar that deliver the same rich, beefy, melt-in-your-mouth experience for a fraction of the price. And one of them might just be the greatest bargain in the entire meat case right now. Welcome to the Meat Authority. Today, we're going deep on budget cuts that punch way above their weight class: tri-tip, pork shoulder steak, and smoked chuck roast. If you've been skipping these at the butcher counter, you've been leaving serious flavor on the table. Stick around, because I'm also going to tell you the one preparation mistake that destroys the cheapest of these 3 cuts every single time, and it's not what you think. Let's start with the cut that's been hiding in plain sight on the West Coast for decades and is only now getting the national love it deserves: tri-tip. Tri-tip comes from the bottom sirloin. It's a triangular muscle that sits right at the hip of the steer, and it is loaded with flavor. We're talking deep, beefy, almost nutty richness, with a tenderness that surprises people who've never had it properly cooked. A whole tri-tip ghost typically runs between $3 and $5 per pound less than a ribeye, depending on your market. That's real money saved without any compromise on the eating experience. Here's what makes tri-tip special, and this is something most home cooks don't know. The grain of the muscle runs in 2 different directions. The triangle splits in half, and if you just slice straight through without paying attention, half your slices will be against the grain and half will be with it, and the ones going with the grain will be chewy and disappointing. So before you cook it, take 30 seconds to find that seam in the middle and identify where the grain changes direction. When it's time to carve, slice each half separately, always cutting against the grain. That single change will make your tri-tip taste like a completely different animal. For cooking, tri-tip shines on a hot grill with a simple crust of coarse salt, cracked black pepper, and garlic powder. Sear it hard over direct heat to build that beautiful caramelized bark, then move it to indirect heat to finish at around 130 to 135 degrees for medium rare. Rest it 10 minutes, then hit it with that carving technique I just described. The result is a cut that eats like a premium steak but costs you grocery money. Now here's the part where things get interesting and a little unexpected. Most people walk right past pork shoulder steaks in the butcher case without a second glance because they associate shoulder cuts with slow braises and pulled pork. But when a pork shoulder is cut into thick steaks, usually about 1.5 inches, something remarkable happens. The marbling that makes braised pork shoulder so unctuous and rich becomes an asset on a hot grill or cast iron pan instead.
Pork shoulder steaks typically run between $2 and $4 per pound. I want you to think about that number for a second. $2 a pound for a cut with more intramuscular fat than most premium beef steaks. The flavor is deep and porky and slightly sweet. And when you hit it with high heat, the fat renders into the meat, and you get this incredible, crispy-edged char on the outside, while the inside stays juicy and almost silky. The secret here, and this is today's butcher's secret, is a quick brine. Mix a 1/4 cup of kosher salt and 2 tablespoons of sugar into a quart of cold water. Add your pork shoulder steaks and let them sit in that brine for just 2 hours before cooking. This does 2 things. It seasons the meat all the way through, and it helps the exterior dry out faster when it hits the heat, which means a better sear and a more dramatic crust. Cook these over screaming high heat, charcoal if you have it, about 4 to 5 minutes per side, and finish with a knob of butter and fresh thyme in the pan. The result will genuinely shock you. Okay, now we're getting to the one that might make you rethink everything you thought you knew about budget cooking: smoked chuck roast. Chuck roast has always been the king of the Sunday braise, pot roast territory, right? Humble, slow-cooked, braised in liquid until it falls apart. And that's great. But when you treat a whole chuck roast like a brisket, low and slow in a smoker, no liquid, just fire and thyme and smoke, you get something that is genuinely jaw-dropping. I'm talking a thick, peppery bark on the outside, deep smoke penetration all the way through, and a pull-apart interior that is so rich and gelatinous and flavorful that people lose their minds the first time they try it. Chuck roast runs anywhere from $4 to $7 per pound. Brisket can run 2 to 3 times that, sometimes more depending on your region. And here's the kicker. Chuck has more intramuscular fat than brisket in many cases, and it cooks faster. A 5-pound chuck roast will hit that magic tender zone in about 8 to 10 hours at 250 degrees, versus the 15-plus hour commitment that brisket demands. Same smoke ring, same bark, same pull-apart moment, and you're done in time for dinner instead of waking up at 3 in the morning to check your pit. For the rub, keep it classic. Equal parts coarse black pepper and kosher salt, with a little smoked paprika and garlic powder. Let that rub sit on the chuck overnight in the fridge, uncovered, so the surface dries out and takes smoke even better. When you put it on the smoker, spritz with apple cider vinegar every 90 minutes to keep the bark from hardening too fast. Pull it off when it probes like warm butter anywhere from 200 to 210 degrees internal. Wrap it in butcher paper, throw it in a cooler with some towels, and let it rest for at least an hour.
When you unwrap that thing, the steam that rises is going to smell like the best day of your life. So, let's bring this all together. Tri-tip is your weeknight hero, fast, affordable, and with a carving technique that completely transforms the texture. Pork shoulder steak is the wild card that nobody talks about, but everyone needs in their rotation. Cheap, fast, and absurdly flavorful with that quick brine. And smoked chuck roast is the long game, the showstopper, the dish that makes your guests think you secretly trained under a Texas pitmaster. All three of these cuts have one thing in common. They reward the cook who pays attention. The right temperature, the right rest, the right carve, the right technique. That's it. That's the whole secret. And none of them will cost you what a ribeye will. Now, which one of these are you trying first? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely read every single one, and I want to know if tri-tip is about to become your new obsession or if you're going straight for that smoked chuck. If this video opened your eyes to what's been sitting undervalued in your butcher case, hit that like button. It helps more people find this channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, because next time we're going inside one of the most legendary old-school butcher shops in the country, and what they do behind that counter will genuinely surprise you. Don't miss it.